This is live on air. I feel like we're in a movie studio. Pretty cool. Facebook's involved. I am leaving right now at 5:30, so 17:30 to those of us who have some military. So I'll call this meeting to order on the recess meeting of Tuesday, August 15th, 2017. We'll stand for a pledge of allegiance, a moment of silence, and just to judge and pass on the Department of the First Baptist Church of Long Beach to give our invitation.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, we come now bowing down before the loving God. We thank you for your tender mercies and your loving kindness. Father God, we uplift the city of Starkville. We thank you for our mayor, Mayor Sproul. We thank you for our vice mayor, to all of our aldermen, to our alderwomen, to our city clerks. We thank you, Master, for our city attorney and all of those who are head of our department. We thank you for our police department that protects us. We thank you for our fire department who protects our property. We thank you, Master, for the sanitation that pick up our trash. We thank you for the recreation department. And we thank you for the department that gives us electricity and all the other departments that contribute to this wonderful community. God, as the students transition to the schools and to Mississippi State University, we speak divine protection over each and every one of them, that everything will be done in decency and in order. We thank you, Master, for everything that's on this official agenda, that everything will be done to please you. And we speak harmony, we speak love, and we speak peace. For we ask all of this in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you all. Good evening. First item on the agenda, we have the first action item is approval of the official agenda. We have some highlighted items that are consent agenda items that I will need to pull. We have first the property at the 9, Mayor's Business, item D, consideration of accepting property at the intersection of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, Highway 182, North Jackson Street, Highway 389, from Blue Current Development, LLC. We need to remove that, do a little bit of further legal research we need to do in order to make sure that that deed and our transfer of the property meets our expectations. We also need to pull, for much the same reason, in the sense of contractual legal information, item J of the Police Department, number 2, consideration of agreement with Pine Lake Church for Police Services. And with those two items, if there is no objection, pulling those from the agenda, we'll vote on consent. So, do we have any modifications to the, let's start with the consent agenda. Do we have any modifications to the consent agenda that anyone would like to propose? I see none, so as it stands now, the consent agenda, I will leave those items out. Under item 4, approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes, we have A, consideration of the minutes of the July 5th, 2017 meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville, Mississippi, incorporating any and all changes recommended by the City Attorney. Item B is consideration of the minutes of the July 14th, 2017 work session of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville, incorporating any and all changes recommended by the City Attorney. Item C is consideration of the minutes of the July 27th, 2017 special call meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville, Mississippi, incorporating any and all changes recommended by the City Attorney. Under Mayor's Business, item 9C is consideration of approval of the letter of engagement for Watkins Ward and Stafford for fiscal year 2016. Under number 10, Board Business, we have B, consideration of approving the temporary salary increase for Calvin Ware as the Interim Environmental Services Department Head. Under Department Business, item A, Airport, we have request approval to accept the 2017 FAA AIP grant offer 3-28-068-022-2017 for perimeter fencing, 3 electronic gates, remove obstructions, and 7 airfield guidance field signs on George M. Bryant Field in the amount of $243,250 with a 5% city match. Under item B, Community Development Department, 2, Planning A, consideration for in-kind services request by the Alzheimer's Association to place a banner over Main Street from August 25th to September 10th. And B is consideration of a special event request by the Greater Starkville Development Partnership to hold the second annual night market and have city participation with in-kind services on September 1, 2017. Under C, courts, number 1, consideration to allow Clerk Shalonda Sykes to attend training September 6, 2017 through September 8, 2017, as required by the Mississippi Judicial College for 12 hours of legislatively mandated training, with all expenses to be paid by the Mississippi Judicial College. Under D, engineering, we have number 1, consideration of accepting a quote from Greg Wall, Helena Chemical, in the amount of $10,365.75 to complete the 2017 ditch spraying program. Number 2, consideration of accepting the low quote from Williams Equipment and Supply for a brush cutter attachment for a mini excavator in the amount of $5,275. Number 3, consideration of authorizing to advertise for RFPs for construction, engineering, and inspection (CE&I) services for the Louisville Street multi-use path in accordance with MDOT, Local Public Agency (LPA) project development manual and authorization for the mayor serving as chief LPA official to appoint a consultant selection committee which will be responsible for bringing a recommendation to the Board of Aldermen at a future meeting. Under E, finance and administration, number 1, request approval of the City of Starkville claims docket for all departments, including Starkville Utilities Department, as of August 8, 2017, for fiscal year ending 9/30/17, acknowledging that the city clerk has attested and certified on the cover of the claims docket that all claims on the docket are true, accurate, lawful, and proper to the best of her knowledge for payment pursuant to her duties under Mississippi Code Sections 2139(5), 2139(7), 2139(17), and 2115(21). Number 2, consideration of the acceptance of the July financial statements. Under H, parks, we have number 1, consideration of approval to use King Construction from Louisville, Mississippi for the purchase of a new roof on the pavilion at J.L. King Park with the lowest quote of $14,125.21. Consideration to authorize the purchase of 2018 Dodge Ram 2500 ST Crew Cab 4x4 at state contract price of $37,984 to be used by the Park and Recreation Department of the City of Starkville and for the city clerk as CFO to obtain 3-year lease purchase quotes and to award the lower quote. 3, consideration to authorize the purchase of a 2018 Dodge Ram 2500 ST Crew Cab 4x4 at state contract price of $26,916 to be used by the Park and Recreation Department of the City of Starkville and for the city clerk CFO to obtain 3-year lease purchase quotes and to award the lower quote. Under personnel, number 1, request authorization to hire Blake Daniels as a certified firefighter in the Starkville Fire Department and allow Mr. Daniels to be considered for promotion after 1 year. Number 2, request authorization to hire Rick Reynolds, James Mask, and Joseph Diaz as entry-level firefighters in the Starkville Fire Department. Number 3, request authorization to retain candidates from the selection process held on August 7, 2017 for consideration to fill any additional vacant positions in the firefighter classification due to retirements, terminations, or approved additions to the fire department within a period of 90 days. Number 4, request authorization to advertise to fill the vacant position of payroll collector clerk in the Starkville Utilities Department. Number 5, request authorization to advertise to fill the vacant position of a maintenance worker in the Sanitation and Environmental Services Department. Number 6, request authorization to advertise to fill the vacant position of a building inspector in the Community Development Department and authorization to advertise the position on the International Codes Council website. Number 7, request approval to hire William Hatton and Victoria Arnold as temporary full-time animal control officers in the Starkville Police Department. Under police, J, number 1, consideration to apply for and if awarded, enter into a grant with the Fort County Foundation to purchase tactical safety equipment in the amount of $5,900 for the Starkville Police Department SWAT team. Under sanitation, we have consideration to advertise for front-loading refuse containers. Number 2, consideration to advertise for bids for the purchase of garbage bags. Number 3, request authorization to rent a bulldozer to be used by the landfill. In the Utilities Department, we have number 1, request authorization for Thomas Ware to travel to Biloxi, Mississippi to attend wastewater certification classes on September 11 through 14, 2017 at a total cost not to exceed $950 with advanced travel. And that concludes the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda as read?
So moved.
Motion from Alderman Walker, second.
Second.
Second from Alderman Miller. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have consent agenda. Approval of the official agenda. Do we have any changes to make to the official agenda? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve the official agenda. Alderman Miller. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Little. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, we have an agenda. Announcements and comments, and I have several, so if y'all will please indulge me. Want to make sure that everyone knows, and I have contacted the school board applicants. Our school board appointments will take place at the next board, the interviews will take place at the next board meeting, which is September the 5th, at 5:30 in this room, and then the appointments themselves will take place on September the 19th at the Falls meeting, which is the recess meeting. And they have been notified and have not had acknowledgement from one applicant, but the other two have, so we'll make sure we get in contact with the third. We have the Get Swept Up by the partnership is on the 30th of this month, and that is our normal cleanup time around which the entire town gathers, and we go to various parts of the community and do a good cleanup. So it's a good community project, and it will not be occurring, or it will be occurring before we have our next meeting. We also have the motorcycle ride, if I haven't said it enough, going downtown on Friday around 4:30. They're going to leave Sturgis at 4, and they're going to drive, from Highway 12 up to 25 bypass, go up to the 182, get off, come on 182, come on Washington Street, and then down Main Street. So if anybody at all is interested, it'll be fun to watch them go by. It'll be kind of a quick thing. The police are going to join them. Are we going to have one of our Harleys in front and one in the back, or are they going to lead them, or how are they going to go, Chief?
They're gonna lead them.
They're going to lead them? It'd be so cool. But anyway, come grab a spot on Main Street and watch. It'll be fun. Then we also have, let's see. Oh, I guess that's it. That'll be the end of mine. So, do we have any other, oh, wait a minute. I did have one more. I apologize. Herman gave me some acknowledgments of some wonderful sports teams. We have our 8 teams in the state Dizzy Dean tournament throughout the state. And we had age 6 group, Coach Alan Smith won the overall state tournament. Age 7 coach pitch, Marcus Hendricks won the overall runner-up at the overall state tournament. Age 8 coach pitch, Thomas Berkery won runner-up overall state tournament. Age 8 coach pitch, George Lewis had 3 wins and 2 losses in the South State tournament. Age 9 minor, Reggie Little won runner-up of the overall state tournament. Age 10 minor, Stephen Key won the South State tournament and won the overall state tournament. Age 11 won the Brent DeWeese won the South State tournament and 3rd overall state tournament. And age 12 freshman Russ McReynolds won the overall state tournament and won the South State tournament. And basically we collected 5 divisional state tournament titles with 2 divisional state tournament runner-up trophies, 3 overall state tournament titles with 3 runner-up overall titles. 11 of the 21 championship banners are ours. So we ought to be really excited. And from this point, you guys y'all are in the audience that did that?
They're all switched from youth baseball now to youth football. So they all got youth football teams going now.
Okay.
But we do want to, Russ McReynolds brought 2 of the trophies back, and we want to take all of them and have them displayed in the sports display complex somewhere or something, because, that's 450 of our youth kids. We entered every tournament. We either won or came runner-up in every tournament we entered.
Okay, and since you're speaking, would you identify yourself so that we can get the record?
Randy Carlisle,
Randy
SBA
Carlisle.
president.
Thank you, Randy. All right, well, we appreciate it and applaud you because I think it's a great program and it's a wonderful summertime activity and makes our kids very.
We thank you for coming down there that day and watching.
Oh,
and just seeing that you just saw one day of about 15 days of that all over the state that we tried to host and bring more back to our town because, we feel like we're pretty dominant in that division just by what the stats show. So if we can keep that building with a partnership with y'all to kind of fix the parks a little bit, upgrade it, we can do that every year.
I think you've got a board that's committed to being a host of the tournament, so we will look forward to doing that. Thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Sorry, I took more time than I intended. Okay, any board comments?
Just take one and echo the
dominance of Starkville baseball and what we're trying to build here, and that we have a real opportunity in our community to upgrade our parks, not just for sporting, but also for other recreation and leisure. And it is really, the time is now for us to really look at making another significant investment in our parks to upgrade all our facilities, so all of our youth, both in town and visiting, can enjoy our facilities, and more importantly, look at that as economic development opportunities for our community. So it's really what that is, from a tournament teams and hosting large tournaments. I think we're starting small, hosting tournaments, so we're making sure that we put our best foot forward, but the opportunity is there in our community to host major sporting events, not SEC sporting events, but major tournament sporting events across the spectrum of sports in our community. But it's going to take investment. It's going to take investment from the city. It's going to take partnerships with the county. It's going to take partnerships with Mississippi State and others and private individuals to make that happen. But the time for us to do that is right now. So thank you. Thank you for supporting our parks and allowing our youth great opportunities to participate and compete in youth sports.
Thank you, Alderman Walker. Anyone else? All right, thank you all. We'll move. I'm sorry.
That's fine. We do have our first home football, away football game for the Starkville High School Yellow Jackets. So if you can get down to Knoxville County, I think it's 7 p.m. It's not too far of a drive. Go down and support them. I'm looking forward to it. We got a good football team this year.
Okay, and that's this Friday?
That is this Friday.
This Friday, okay. If we're here, guys, we are ready to roll for football. All right, moving on, we'll go to citizen comments. Anyone who wishes to come up may speak for 3 minutes, and you are welcome to have any issue that you'd like to discuss with us or present to us. Mr. Turner.
Good evening to the mayor and board. My name is Adam Tom Ward 7, to the mayor, to the vice mayor, to Alderman Vaughn, to Jason Walker,
Thank you.
President Christian. I want to thank everyone for the episode that I've had in July and August. It was one year of my brother's death, and people they're trying to rush the situation, and that can be stressful. But they had reduced my medication. They think that we need it. Instead of taking 2 pills, go back up to 3 pills to stabilize. I enjoyed 10 weeks with the police department, just a point of safety, since we don't know who the killers are. I enjoyed being with the police department, felt safe. The citizens have a couple concerns, and it is the traffic lights that at Dollar Tree and Ceasefire, the new lights, they're getting confused. They don't know what lights what. They see the lights up, but they don't know which one working. Is Dollar Tree working? Is Ceasefire working? Garbage bags, I ran out. We have another problem with tree limbs. We are at Reed Place now, and on the left-hand side, coming out of Reed Place, cannot see a blind spot. You cut those limbs back, it'll keep it from getting hit. And that's just something concerning our citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Congratulations on graduating again from Citizens Academy. 2 terms. We'll see if you're going to do a third. Any other citizen comments?
Good evening, Mayor, Board. I'm Jennifer Fraser, Starkville Partnership, Director of Tourism, and I just wanted to come to the board and thank you in advance for support of all of our events. We're leading into the fall, and it's a busy time Mayor, thank you for the mention of Get Swept Up. It's exciting to get swept up this year, as all of them are, but being a new affiliate with Keep Mississippi Beautiful is really going to take that to the next level for us, and we're committed to making that program strong and working together to build that in the future. The first event we have coming up in the fall is the night market, and we have grown that event outside of the fire station park to where we actually need the police assistance and in mind, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Chief Nichols and Chief Garber, for working with us to grow that event. It is an award-winning event after just the first year, and so I would invite all of you to come on September 1st at 7 o'clock. If you haven't been to an event and seen the look on visitors' faces when they come to Starkville, many of them are just amazed at what they didn't expect to get out of our community, and they are in awe of what we have to offer, and that's what we want. We want them to return, and so please join us and just experience that with us, and thank you again in advance for your support to allow us to do that.
Ms. Frank. No, I just said thank you. Sorry. Anyone else? Any other citizen comments?
Chris Taylor, and I'm speaking as a business partner in a business here in Starkville. And I really think y'all need to look at that ordinance and let the people decide. I mean, just listen to them, because the alcohol content is low, we need to raise it, and also the that extra hour. Just think of how many people is employed for that extra hour. How many more people will get those tips? It's hundreds. Those kids need those tips and everything else. So I strongly ask you to consider having a public hearing on alcohol ordinance. I'm not sure about the church district, but the state law says 100 meters and how much? 100 feet, and I would say 250 feet. So I don't care that too much about that one, but the other two I really do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Good evening. Before I get up here, I'm just going to say to my alderman and to my mayor over here, and I'm saying to all my aldermen, okay? I got to say it, and I got to say special thanks to all of you for coming tonight. But else, I'm coming, you know what I'm coming for, that alcohol. You know that alcohol is not going to do us any good. We about to go anywhere else than what it is. It's not going to do us any other kind of good. The only thing I can see that it's going to do is on our students. They need to be at home by that time. Because there's not more crime going to be committed in the city. More crime will be committed. I hate to get up at church. I go to church at 8 o'clock sometimes, and the roads all full with beer cans. I hate it. I really do. I hate to get up and go see it like that. I have to come through town to go to church, and I don't like it. And another thing, our police chief over here, him and his, you got to think about him and his section that he had. They will be busy. They will be busy, like I'm saying. Cotton District, we had all kinds of crimes. Think about this. Just think about this at what time in the night it is. Our high school seniors, they need to be at home asleep about that time. I can't tell them to go to sleep, but I can keep them off the road and try to keep them. Let's remember what has happened in the past week. Let's just remember what has happened. Be strict, be firm, and as it goes on, I will be bringing some more folks up here with me. I could have brought them tonight, but, you know, of course I didn't. I didn't try tonight, but I will next time. And I would just like to say, please consider all avenues. All avenues. I got y'all reports back there in my book bag, and it didn't say that y'all were going, the first thing you're going to do was have this. First thing you said you was going to do was elect somebody to the school board. And so I got to wait for that to happen. But please remember, we are citizens here. I voted, and I looked at the record, and I got it, and I will hold all of you accountable for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Isaac. All right, any other citizen comments? All right, seeing none, we will move into public appearances. We have the presentation of the Mississippi State budget of the 2% funds from Dr. Gina Hyatt and Student Association President Tyler McMurray. Oh, and more than that, so introduce all folks.
Absolutely. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. Always a pleasure to be with you. I'm Regina Hyatt and have the pleasure of serving as Vice President for Student Affairs. I will be very brief in just saying that we are so appreciative of the support of this board, the city of Starkville, all of the agencies such as the police department and fire department. Without you all, what we do at Mississippi State would be much more difficult. So we appreciate your support, and these monies, of course, go to enrich the student experience and student life, which is why I'm getting out of the way and introducing our wonderful student leaders. First, I would like to introduce to you Tyler McMurray, our student body president, and Leighton Little, our student body vice president. I'd also like to introduce to you Amelia Rogers, who serves as the advisor to the Student Association. Tyler?
Thank you all. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. As Dr. Hyde said, my name is Tyler McMurray, and I'm serving as this year's student body president. I do want to say thank you so much for your continued support of student activities on campus. It does enrich the student experience as well as our relationship with the community, which we love, so thank you so much for that. Over the past year, we used that money to go towards Bulldog Bash, Cowboy Cast, which is a statewide program, the Global Lecture Series, which is designed to enhance cultural diversity on campus, as well as the Lyceum Series, which brings in international acts and national acts, as well as music makers and the Old Main Music Festival. So coming up this year, we plan and intend on using the money in pretty much the same way with having Bulldog Bash downtown. We're very excited and pleased and hope that you guys are too, as well as we expanded our Cowboy Cab Safe Ride Museum. And so I'm going to let Leighton tell y'all a little bit more about what that expansion looks like, and we hope that y'all will be excited about it.
Before you go away, Bulldog Bash, what's the date?
September 15th.
And y'all have announced the headliner.
Yes, it's D&D, which
Now,
is...
who up here on the board knows who that is? How old are we? I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Y'all will enjoy it. They are classified as dance rock.
Oh,
So it'll be a very interesting program,
Okay.
and we'll have lots of fun.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
So as Tyler mentioned, my name is Leighton Little, and I serve as the vice president for the student body. And so Cowboy Cap, so we have expanded it this year to as just about as much as we can do with it. And so now Cowboy Cap will be able to pick students up from anywhere within the set boundaries that we have. So if they would like to be picked up at a business and be taken to another business, they can. If they would like to be picked up from a business and be taken home, they can. If they would like to be picked up at their apartment complex, be taken to a friend's apartment, they can, as well as anywhere on campus, Previously, they could only be picked up anywhere on campus and taken anywhere else to their home or somewhere else on campus, or from a business or home. And we think that this expansion will benefit students a lot while enhancing the 2% tax, getting those students that don't necessarily have a car late at night to get them to those businesses that will then enhance the 2% tax, hopefully, and then to bring that back to us and then back to the city of Starkville.
Are you related by any chance?
I am related to.
Oh, no wonder you know who that was. Well, thank you, we appreciate it. What is the hours that the Cowboy Cabs operate?
So Cowboy Cabs will operate on Thursdays from 9 to 1 a.m. starting this Thursday, and as well as Friday and Saturdays from 9 to 2 a.m.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And we just wanted to mention too that we are in contact with Jeremiah Dumas about your request for the night route, and that is on our radar. We'll be working on that.
Excellent, thank
And
you so
then
much.
there's also a concert tonight in the amphitheater part of Music Makers in the Lyceum series. It is a cover band of the Eagles, and that starts at 6:30. So if I get out of here early, or if anyone in the audience would like to go, that starts at 6:30.
Let's see if we can move that along. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much.
And our request is the same as it was last year, so we have not changed anything in what's been proposed. So thank you, as always, for your time.
Okay, thank you so much.
Questions?
Any questions on the board? Okay.
And if I could approach, I have Tyler and Sports to
Yes,
give
you
also
may.
I'd like to make contact.
Certainly.
Anybody, I'd like to clarify that I might not have known who DNCE was before the announcement.
Well, that's okay. Thank you so much.
If you know who the Jonas Brothers are, the main Jonas Brothers.
Okay, well, then you did it the big time.
Yeah.
And they were cheated though, I know all the little kids. Yes, the rest. contest.
Thank you.
All right, thank you again, we appreciate it. All right, our second public appearance is the draft version of the audit by Randy Scrivener, Watkins, Stafford.
Good evening. As always, we appreciate the opportunity to come to you and present the results of your audited financial statements. And tonight, we're going to be going over the September 30th, 2016 audited financial statements. Once again, it was a clean opinion, which means that your financial statements materially reflect the assets, liabilities, revenues, and expenditures of the city of Starkville. Several things I want to point out in the audit reports, just some numbers. When you open up the first page, you see this huge unfunded pension liability of $28 billion. And it just immediately knocks the breath out of you. That came about 3 years ago in Gatsby 68, to where the government accounting standards board basically came in and said, we have a lot of unfunded public pensions, and we need to start recognizing the amount of unfundedness, for lack of a better word, that there is. The city's liability as calculated would be about $28 million. 18 million of that is associated with the actual governmental entities. The remainder of it is associated with utilities. There's a lot of debate, on whose liability it is. There's AG's opinions out there, but Gatsby has a real authority, and they say it has to go on the city's financial statements. So we have to include it on the city's financial statements. It does throw you into a deficit fund balance situation in a total financial statement. It doesn't throw your general fund into a deficit, but it does, on appearances, just looks bad when you look at that statement of debt position. When you look at your revenues increased about $1.28 billion this year, 6.9%. Your expenditures increased about $1.45 million, or 7.5%. Sometimes that's hard to look at and actually say how much of that is true and real and accurate. Yeah, the number's accurate. You spent that much money, but you also carry over fund balance. And so when you're doing that, when you look at a deficit spending this year, I think this year your deficit was about $930,000. You had money that came from bond issuances and different things like that that you used to pay that $900,000. So when you look at that financial statement, don't get hung up on 1 year's revenues and 1 year's expenses. Understand that it is fluid from several years build up as you start looking at those numbers. Total revenues on the water department was $6.1 billion compared to $5.6 the year before, about a 9% increase in our water and sewer revenue. Expenditures were actually down in the water and sewer department, and down about 4.6%. The number everybody wants to know is the cash balance and the fund balance. Your cash balance in the general fund is $1.29 million as September 30th, 2016. That's $263,000 more than what you had September 30th, 2015. So you did have an increase in your general fund cash balance. Your general fund balance is $1.7 million. It actually decreased, and that's because of the capital outlays related to the roads that you had gotten bond issuance for in the year before. Debt-wise, the city carries about $10 million of GO bonds at September 30th, $3 million of business-type bonds, $6.3 million of notes and leases related to governmental funds, and about $8.2 million related to business-type funds. And when we refer to business type funds, we're referring to your utility system, the water and sewer system, sanitation, and landfill. Those are what would be considered business type activities. Last year, we spent a lot of time discussing findings, and I do want to compliment the city clerk's office this year because they did a remarkable job of removing findings. We had one finding. It is a significant deficiency. In October of 2015, you transferred out the accounting processes of the water and sewer department. We had transactions for a short period of time over on the city's books and transactions on the utility books. And you had to have those transactions in one place. And we have them in one place now, thanks to the efforts of the city clerk's office and the utility clerks. All those are now in one place. But that is we did have to report that. Your Poole Township accounts have done a remarkable job. Still have some cleanup work to do, but it removed it from a material weakness and even a significant deficiency. The netting of revenues, we walked in, they identified every state and federal dollar in one account that was reported into it. And so they really worked hard to get us good, clean records for this audit year. And like I said, we had 10 deficiencies last year. We got it down to 1 this year. I don't expect any for 2017. I'm open for questions now. It's a 90-page document, and we can talk for a long time about it.
Do we have any questions for this one? Mr.
Couple comments, I guess. In the last 8 years I've been in office, we've really increased our in-fund balance. It's good to see, even though I guess you're saying the increase a little bit this year. It sounds like it's still at a pretty good level. I was going to ask, I was just trying to touch on this, such a larger piece of the pie was grabbed up or scooped up when we had the industrial park. But so that, and then we talked already tonight about the baseball complex and things like that. There's a couple things that this board is possibly prioritized for the next 4 years. But you know, I see these four categories of bonds that you say here. You know, what rate do you think that we need to? Is there a threshold that you recommend we borrow up to? And you know, that's kind of. She alluded to this, saying that at some point, you know, you've got to prioritize.
You've got to prioritize, and that's the biggest challenge: is what is a priority that you as a board decide, because you are limited in the amount that you can take on in the form of debt.
What is a safe number? What are these for?
Well, it's 15% of assessed valuation, excluding revenue bonds. Correct. Yeah. So it's I don't know what assessed valuation is. But it is a limit. The joy of the debt service is it's a special tax levy. So it's really whatever the taxpayers can bear. Because you're going to levy a tax on the taxpayers to pay for that bond. And so the answer to that question becomes more of how much are you willing to increase taxes to pay that bond compared to the 15% count. I guess I don't have a match. I don't have a.
Yeah, I'm looking more for a number than a percentage, to be honest with you. I mean,
Well,
something like
that. The hard numbers were in the linked bond document, and I'll find those for you before we leave this afternoon. But the hard numbers were in that linked bond document. One of the questions becomes how much. There is a cap on what you can borrow, but you never, it's like your credit cards, you don't want to max out. So the question is, how much do you need to kind of keep in your back pocket for emergencies?
Yes.
And we've gotten some advice from someone who does some financial consulting for us that has given us a window of, will give us a window of what we have available as we're looking at new borrowings.
You know, your fund balance is in what's called a very safe zone. When you look at the industry, when you look at all the numbers, it's in a safe zone. I've seen lower, and I've seen higher. But you know, fiscal management is solid enough that you can sometimes operate on a smaller percentage of fund balance. I think Alderman Sistrunk and I looked at the number of days of cash. And I think that day was around 26, 27 days. And that's
What she tweeted it out, as a matter of fact.
okay.
But that's a good number.
That's a good number. And I think about that from the standpoint of our member up in Mississippi Delta with Ice Cream. You didn't have cash, you didn't have anything coming in. And it was important to be able to have something along that line. I did want to point out one number that I failed to mention. You have $681,000 in the when it was over. That's, you usually ask me that every year, and I have that number ready this year.
Good things. Any other questions from board members? Okay, thank you, Mr. Scrivener. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, we now have a public hearing, which is consideration of CU 17-07, request for conditional use to allow for an electrical substation at the north end of Azalea Lane in R5 zone with parcel number 1020-00-019.00 and 1020-00-012.00. Do we have Mr. Sanders that will be fine? Council, you want to join him if there are any questions associated with that substation? Just wanted to see if there were anything associated with it we want to talk about. Everyone knows where it is. See the map in the packet. Any questions? No? Okay.
Can we have the map that we can pull up? Just, please pull that.
And it is roughly at the end of Azalea Lane and adjacent to our park system. It is off of Lynn Lane.
Matt, if I could have your assistance.
I came in for an IT guy.
Thank you, Matt. Right here is the intersection of Louisville Street and Bowyer Lake. And the proposed substation will be located in this area right here, adjacent to the water tower here and the softball fields, baseball fields of Space Works.
Okay, so the ingress and egress will be off of Azalea Lane during the construction period.
That is correct.
Accurate.
And one of the conditions of the approval is when the construction takes place, the residents will be notified by the construction company of construction activities.
And my understanding is that this is a 36-month timeline, so we're looking at basically 3 years.
That's correct. The total project from start to actual energizing will be about 3 years.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the wall? No, just want to see the picture.
Let's see where it is.
Okay.
Picture. Well, I guess I do have one. Mr. Kent, over the 3-year time period, we've had discussions regarding when the TVA gets ready to build a line from east-west from the old substation to be able to maintain a road right there. At what point do you see that happening within that 3-year window?
It will probably be in the second year. The first year will be a lot of the engineering, finalizing, all that type of work, specing the material. The second will be kind of we consider sort of site work. And it will be putting some new structures down that line, the TVA will be doing. And then that will probably be near the end of the second year.
Okay, thank you.
But you would, like you said, that would be that quarter, there would be access access down that side.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no further questions, I'm going to open it up as a public hearing. Anyone wishes to speak to this item, please come forward and do so now. Anyone? All right, I see no one, so I'll close it as a public hearing. Any further discussion by the board? Okay. Next item on the agenda is under mayor's business, and we have consideration of the conditional use. I'm sorry? Oh, okay, let me go ahead and read it out. Consideration of CU 17-07, a request for conditional use to allow for an electrical substation at the north end of Azalea Lane in the R5 zone with parcel number 1020-00-019.00 and 1020-00-012.00. I have a motion from Alderman Carter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Walker. Any further discussion?
Yes, if I may, and I'm not going to place another condition on here, but I would like to make the board aware of what I was just, what Mr. Kip and I were talking about. If you see at the intersection of Azalea Lane and the corner of the Sportsplex where the substation is going to be, you're able to scroll further to the west, there is an existing substation that is at on Industrial Road.
Rural Industrial?
Rural Industrial Road right there, and what in my opinion, and I think others, it is critically important that along that what is already going to be right of way, that we maintain a minimum of about 50 feet, so long term we could potentially have a road, a physical connection that would be able to connect Azalea Lane to School Industrial Park Road. That would allow another ingress, egress point into the Sportsplex. That really would open up the Sportsplex for much greater use to be able to host large-scale tournaments. So right now, we really only have 1.5 ingress, egress. We have the overflow lot and the main entrance on Lynn Lane, and we have to have another point of ingress, egress, and it needs to be that road. So here's a major opportunity for east-west. So I'd just like to, again, point out that through this process, through the discussions with TVA, it's really critically important that we maintain the ability to be able to have that access point in the future.
Okay, thank you. Anyone on the system?
And this is something that is in my ward, and I appreciate the conditions that have been placed on this that will allow what has been a dead-end, very peaceful residential street to continue to function in that regard throughout the construction and once the substation is there. Y'all have addressed noise pollution and light pollution and construction traffic, and I very much appreciate you working to ensure that the neighborhood is disrupted as little as possible.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you. I have a motion and a second. Call for a vote. Do we have all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now, item D is consideration of calling for public hearing on amending the ordinance 2009-06, municipal code section chapter 10, related to the sale of alcohol within the city of Starkville.
Move approved.
I have a motion from Alderman Walker. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Miller. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have 3 nays, Alderman Carter, Alderman Vaughn, and Alderman, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Crawford. Motion carries.
Mayor,
Vice Mayor.
will you please announce to the public, those who may be late to join in on the discussion when the public hearing is going to be and when the vote is expected to take place?
For this particular item?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. We have called for a public hearing. The public hearing will be held on September the 5th. The first public hearing will be held on September the 5th. The second public hearing and the opportunity to actually vote on this item will be on September the 19th. So there are 2 public hearings available for discussion and comments by the public, and then an opportunity to vote on it by this board on September the 19th. So. Next item on the agenda for consideration is under board business, which is discussion and consideration of calling for a public hearing on the budget for the city of Starkville for fiscal year 2018. Alderman Sistrom?
Yes, I would like to move that we call for a public hearing on the budget for the city of Starkville for the fiscal year 2018 on September 5th, which is the first meeting in September. And before we leave tonight, and not part of this motion, I would like for us to set a work session so that we can talk about the budget prior to that public hearing.
Okay. I have a motion for calling for public hearing on the budget for September the 5th. Do I have a second? Sorry, I have a second from Alderman Lewis. Any further discussion? Alderman Shaw.
When will we have our second hearing? Would be on that,
I'm proposing that it would be September 15th.
our regular,
At our work session on September 15th. And we can also make that a special call meeting and have our vote that date. So if I need to amend the motion.
no, I'm
I'll
fine
do
with
that.
that. I just was curious as to when we were having that, or when we were having that public hearing. Thank you.
So September 5 and September 15th with the anticipation of a vote on September 15th.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, let's see, we have one more item, which did not make it to the consent agenda. Item is under, sorry, it's under community development. Number 2, we have item C, consideration of preliminary plat 17-09 request for preliminary plat approval for subdividing 40.46 acres into 85 lots for the final phase of Christopher Estates in R-4 zone with property numbers 106-14-1-013.00.
Same move.
I'm sorry, Alderman Carter. I have a motion from Alderman Carter. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, no second dies. Do I have a second? Do we have some information that we need to be presented, Alderman
I was
Lewis?
just wondering, is the developer present?
Just representative there. Just representative there.
You guys represent?
Would you like to come forward? Identify yourself, please, and we'll let Alderman Lewis ask his question.
My name is John Weaver. I'm with the engineering in Starkville.
Mr. Weaver, thank you.
I'd like city engineer also, I've got a couple of questions for him as well. I know Johnny and Frank are going to be here. So I'm not sure how much you've been informed of what's going on behind the scenes in the neighborhood.
I've been working on this for 4 years.
This is recently, people living there, so I've got questions on their behalf.
Okay.
First, to Edward Kemp, this ditch retention plan, tell me a little bit about this and how we got there. Is this something the city required? Is this their storm retention plan as presented by Pritchard Engineering? And who maintains these going forward? Can you speak to that part?
Yeah, I probably, if you have a second, I could probably rewind probably about 3 to 4 years, probably when we had an initial conversation. And I don't want to speak for the developer, but at that time, he was interested in developing phase 3 and realized that he would fall under the responsibilities and requirements of the stormwater management ordinance since his property was greater than 2 acres. So he was evaluating some different options. He initially started out with a pond down in the, I guess kind of closer to the country club on the south side of his property where everything kind of drains to. But he didn't really like that option, at least that's what was communicated to us. So he went back with John and some of his staff, and they came up with these more like a linear basin, linear ditches. And they run behind property lines, or along rear property lines, and pretty much go through the entirety of phase 3, kind of snaking its way from the south all the way kind of to the northeast corner-ish of the new phase. From the city's perspective, we've obviously not ever done anything like this method before. We certainly, we were not opposed to it. I think one of the initial thoughts we were wondering about at that time was about what would this look like long term? Being in rear lots, being on private property essentially, but there would be an easement for an entity to maintain. And at that time, the attorney was Mr.
Rogers, I believe, Mr. Rogers, he had suggested at that time that the HOA could maintain it, and that was kind of where we all landed in the it was kind of a conceptual idea that the stormwater be mitigated in these linear basins. They have outlet control structures on the lower end, and that they would be maintained by some HOA entity in the neighborhood. And so that is kind of the directive that John and his staff went forward with. They presented the design, all the supporting calculations that meet our requirements. And that occurred, and now they're under construction of actually building the infrastructure for the neighborhood.
When you say maintain, how much does that encompass? Is it, mowing, weeding, edging, whatever needs to be done?
So I don't want to get into the sort of details of the design for John, so jump in here, John, but essentially there is an area in these backyards that is a volume that is going to retain a volume of stormwater. And so if that is not maintained over time, for example, if it not only volume but also conveyance. So if, for instance, if someone was to put fences across it, block the flow, somebody was to come in and fill in that area over time, any kind of encumbrances that could either reduce the storage or reduce the conveyance, there would need to be some kind of oversight or maintenance to make sure that that didn't occur, as well as just general mowing to keep it from becoming a public nuisance.
What if, are y'all planning to be sodded, or how does this?
Yes, it's going to be sodded. There are going to be some erosion checks intermittently through it. And as he stated, there's going to be drainage structures in position along this ditch. And basically, it's 20-foot wide flat bottom ditch with 31 side slope. And the rationale for the control structure is to let surges of rainwater come in, build up to a level of 3 feet, and release itself over time so that you don't have a surge downstream. And that was all done in order to meet the stormwater ordinance. But as far as maintenance, it's basically a legal aspect that they're working on to put into their covenants, and that's something that they would really rather address on the final plat portion of this.
That's kind of where I was heading. I think we've approved this 4 previous times, maybe 3.
Yes, it's been a long process. We had to go through Army Corps permitting, and that was a pretty significant delay.
Say there's to be a washout, need some riprap or some field dirt, so that would be part of the ongoing maintenance for the HOA.
That's something that Mr. Jones wishes to address in his covenants.
And the reason I'm asking this question is because several neighbors in phase 1 and 2 do not want to be a party to the phase 3 retention or its upkeep or liability.
That's understood by Mr. Jones.
So, okay, I just want to be clear on the record, so they would be here tonight for that. That's worked out, it's, at some point prior to the final plan.
It will be.
It needs to be addressed. I don't have a problem with moving forward with approving this tonight based on that. Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Alderman.
Planning was on this question for the city attorney, this gentleman here. The way I understood, Commissioner Brooks said that these phases should be thought of independently, right? Like our vote on phase 3 is not, I know there were some residents there in phase 2 that had issues. Is that true? Can you speak to that?
Procedurally, that's accurate, that the scope of this project is the thing that's germane to your decision tonight. There was talk in the Planning and Zoning Commission a lot about how this drainage fix might or might not help people in phase 1 and phase 2, but the Planning and Zoning Commission urged themselves and others to narrow the scope just to the disciplinary plan. That's true.
I'd like to say something too, that we as a city need to be mindful of as neighbors build out and grow in the city. That HOAs come and go, they get component, older neighborhood kids, people lose interest in maintaining HOAs, and we think that's going to be the catch-all. And I just read my covenants today, and ours expired in 25 years. We're 12 years deep into it, and it renews automatically at 10 years, subject to neighborhood approval. So, in 12 and a half years, we can say, we're not going to have an HOA. So that is not the catch-all. in maintenance of these issues.
I understand, and I don't know what the city's ability is to deal with that in 25 years. Any other questions? Alderman Vaughn?
I never knew who gonna manage it. The city gonna be responsible for managing it?
Homeowners Association is supposed to be, but that's what
That's-
Alderman Lewis was saying, is that the homeowners association in 25 years is potentially not going to be around to be willing to do that
That's why I said I never hear who gonna manage it. My question, who gonna manage it?
long term, right?
The answer to that question is Mr. Jones' attorney is in the process of confining all this to the covenants that will be addressed on the final plat. This basically allows us to continue with our work.
My main concern, if they gonna manage it, if you got managed money, I gotta run through my work. That's what I'm concerned. I want who gonna manage it.
Understood. Anyone else? Okay, well, we are still in need of a motion. All right, I have a motion from Alderman Little. I need a second. Second from Alderman Carver. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Vice Mayor Perkins is a nay. Motion carries. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, and that concludes the open portion of our meeting. We have I have listed on an executive session of potential litigation and land acquisition, and I need a motion to close the session to determine the need. I have a motion from Alderman Lewis. Second from Alderman Carver. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thank you. If you would take the room, please, we're going to go into closed session to determine the need to go into executive session. And we will call back in with a